welcome to our new edition of Treasures.
As we all know, Egypt is home to one of the oldest cultures in the world.
And it's full of so many unique touristic places that attracts people from all over the world.
That's why in Treasures, every time we take you to a different place with a different story.
So stay tuned as we begin right after this.
The Egyptian Antiquities Museum in Cairo houses the world's most extensive collection of pharaonic antiquities.
The original collection was established in the late 19th century under Auguste Mariette and housed in Boulaq.
The objects were moved in 1891 to the Palace of Ismail Pasha in Al-Giza before being transferred in 1902 to the current building at Tahrir Square. Today we'll take you in a tour inside of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
We know that a lot of people have talked about the Egyptian Museum. That's why we are selective and we chose to talk about two partitions that not so many know about.
Yasmin had the chance to know more about Tuya and Tuya's Hall, who are the father and mother-in-law of Amenhotep III.
So let's watch together. We're pleased to have with us now the Egyptian archaeologist Dr. Tarek Tawfi, who's going to talk to us about a very special and unique place here inside the Egyptian Museum, which is the Hall of Yuya and Tuya, the father and mother-in-law of King Amenhotep III. So we thank you so much for joining us on Nile International.
Pleasure.
Okay. Sir, I think this place is very unique and very special, and it's not visited by so many people. I want you to talk to me in details about this place, starting with the coffins over there.
Well, first we must say that Yuya and Tuya had a very special position because their tomb was discovered in the Valley of the Kings.
Okay.
They are not royal, but because their daughter was married to King Amenhotep III, they got this unique privilege to be buried in the Valley of the Kings. Their tomb, other than royal tombs, was not decorated from the inside. The walls were not decorated, but this was compensated a little by their funerary equipment being very lavishing, very beautiful, gilded, in a way not really common for commoners, but something more of a royal style. So Queen T seems to have had a very strong influence over her husband.
So, yeah.
And we can see here the mask, the golden mask, which reminds us a little of the mask of Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun is later, but the idea of the mask was there before. This mask was directly on the mummy of Tuya in this case, who was the father-in-law of Amenhotep III. And the mummy with this mask was inside a golden sarcophagus, which is not really golden, but it was wooden and gilded from the outside. Yeah. The eyes were inlaid exactly like with the mask here. The pupils of the eyes were made out of obsidian.
So it's the same like this one?
Yes.
I mean, the face here is the same like this one?
It's the same face, and the ancient Egyptian artisan was very perfectionist. He was able to give us clear similarities between the faces, so you notice immediately that it was made for the same person. The inlaid eyes and the inlaid eyebrows give the whole thing something vivid, because in the second life, after death, the spirit which is shown here, the Ba bird, must recognize the deceased. So he recognizes first the sarcophagi, he recognizes the mask, and by this he recognizes the mummy.
Okay.
Not enough by this. This first gilded sarcophagus was inside a second
Another one.
sarcophagus.
The one behind it, right?
The one beside it. And this one is very special because it had a thin layer of silver from the outside. Not gilded, but in this case, a thin layer of silver, which is something very special.
And you've told me it's so precious, it was so precious other than gold in our area now, right?
It was at that time more precious than gold, because gold was to be found on Egyptian soil, whereas silver, they had to import it from nowadays Anatolia.
Okay.
So that's why silver was more precious than gold. So this is something really special.
Yeah, I think so.
And then this second sarcophagus was again inside a third sarcophagus, this time made out of wood, not gilded and not with silver. But the interesting thing is all of them had the shape of a human being. This kind of sarcophagus is called an anthropoid sarcophagus. And these three, one within the other, were then put into a big, vast, huge sarcophagus, which had the shape of a big box.
Gone to another place, which is you've told me you're going to talk about the canopic jars, right?
Exactly.
So what are the canopic jars?
You see, we have here these little containers made out of alabaster. Each tomb would contain 4 of these canopic jars for each deceased, and they had the simple function of containing the intestines which were taken out of the mummy of the deceased during the mummification.
Okay.
And the idea was to take out everything that could rot inside the body. This was taken out.
They want to keep it.
Exactly. It was taken out during the mummification, and then it was put in, if you would like, it was also mummified and also set to rest in the same tomb. So
Okay.
nothing was thrown away. And the interesting thing is that you see inside this canopic jar here a little head. Actually, it is a whole little sarcophagus. So the intestines, in this case the lung, the liver, they were put inside a little sarcophagus and then put inside the jar. So it's like
okay.
a little burial for itself for each of the intestines of the deceased. And then even at the end you have the lid of the jar giving me the face of the deceased again.
So yeah,
So,
I think it's so interesting.
And then all of these 4 jars were put into a canopic chest like the one we can see over there. So they were again protected inside a chest, and it's most probable that they were moved inside this chest to the tomb.
So sir, talking about this gift, you told me it's a royal gift of from King Amenhotep III, right? The
Yes.
carriage.
It's something really special. We think that it was a gift given to the father-in-law of Amenhotep III, and it seems that he even didn't use it much because the wheels they were covered by leather, from the outside, and this leather was not much abused. So the carriage or this chariot looks very much like the royal chariots, like the ones found later in the tomb of Tutankhamun. It used to be, it has two horses in front, and it was made out of wood. It was gilded, and what you see in a reddish color, this is leather. And the tomb of Yuya and Tuya is dated about 1350 before Christ. So this is more than 3,000 years old.
And it looks new.
It looks new.
It's really nice.
Of course, it has been restored a little, but still, the original substance is more than 3,000 years old, which is totally amazing. And at this time, the chariot in ancient Egypt is something still rather new, because as we know, as it's known till now in Egyptology, that these chariots came to Egypt with the Hyksos just before the New Kingdom. Yuya and Tuya are in the time of the 18th dynasty, which is the first dynasty of the New Kingdom. So this was still something very
new.
innovative, and it must have been a very special gift from the son-in-law to his father. The Ushabtis are little servant statues. Normally, a tomb in the New Kingdom would contain about 365 of these. Does the number remind you of something?
265
365.
year.
A year,
The
exactly.
days in the
Days of the year.
Yeah.
So you had one statue of these for each day. And each of these statues has a text written on them, which states that when the deceased is asked to perform anything in the second life after death in the netherworld, then one of these statues stands up and says, "I'm here at his place to commit or to
perform the
perform
daily tasks.
the daily task." So he could enjoy the second life after death, and his daily tasks would be performed. And they, of course, one of the main tasks was agricultural work.
Yeah, I
work.
see here the agricultural tools.
So the tools in miniature form. And then even these Ushabtis had boxes in which they were put, and these are these nice little boxes that you see in the back. If you look carefully, you will see that the face has the features of Yuya that we have been noticing all the time, and that the work, the craftsmanship, is rather nice.
The Egyptian Museum was built in 1897 during the reign of Abbas Hilmi II, and it was opened on the 15th of November 1902.
It houses more than 120,000 artifacts. That's why you have to be really selective upon coming here in a visit.
And that's why we were also selective. Ahmed had the chance to know the full details about the servant statues during the three main kingdoms, the old, the middle, and the new. So let's find out.
So basically everyone knows, and everybody in the world knows actually, about the pharaonic lifestyle and the lavish lifestyle of the kings and noblemen. in the Pharaonic era. But now we are going to take a different perspective about the life of the noblemen in the Pharaonic era, which are the servants who used to serve them. Dr. Abir, will tell us more about the servants and their roles in the life of the noblemen and their afterlife.
The servants that we have here are meant to serve in the next life, to provide for food. As a replacement or as an alternative of burying the real servants in the next life, the ancient Egyptians came up with a good idea of burying the statues that will make food. That's what they were concerned about. I will get hungry in the next life. Therefore, they believed that the power of magic will make these statues come to life and serve them. To do what? To do the things that they actually need.
So there was a common misconception about people thought that Pharaonic kings used to kill the servants and bury them with them during their death.
Absolutely wrong idea. Wrong. It's a misconception. Ancient Egyptians had very high ethics and morals, and they believed that killing a soul is the biggest sin of all. So, but they still needed the servants. They don't want to go in the next life and do the cooking.
Yes.
So they thought, okay, I will be kind, but I will need my servants with me. Therefore, they came up with this idea to serve them in the next life, and this idea developed with the Egyptian history from the beginning to, or from the Old Kingdom to the Middle Kingdom to the New Kingdom, and we will see today how this servant statues developed and served the kings and nobles.
So how every servant of them did their job?
Okay, let's for example see the most important thing for Egyptians was bread and beer. Having to eat, these are the two most important elements. So here we see a large number of statues preparing for these two items. For example, here we will see the woman grinding the wheat. She brings the grains, put it on a saddle quern, that means a flat type of a quern, not a circular one or a rotating one, and she will grind it into flour that will be collected in a small container or basin in front of her. And then comes the step which is sifting. To sift, to use a sieve to sift like our grandmothers used to do, to get rid of the small impurities. And then comes
to purify the containment of the wheat.
Exactly, and mix it. The dough will be half cooked. See, the pot is already very hot. So when you put the dough in it, it becomes half cooked. And if they want, they can finish the cooking and turn it into bread, or they can take the half-cooked loaves and turn it into beer. Not like the transparent liquid beer that is used today, but a thick, old-fashioned beer, white liquid. And this will be done by many servants, like we see here, this is one, and we see another one here with outstanding colors. This beer eventually will be put into jars that are prepared here. If you wish, we can have a look on the beer maker, one of the nicest examples of beer makers because of the colors. Here it is. You see what she's done now? She took the half cooked loaves, soaked them in water, and then will start squeezing after it was left to ferment for a while. She will start squeezing it. She has like a strainer on top of a big jar. And as you see, the jar has a spout. So she will squeeze and the liquid will go into the jar. And then with that spout, it will be filled, the liquid will be filled in jars like this gentleman here and the other one were preparing jars. You see, we have the whole step here for making bread or beer, and that was, as I mentioned, the most important thing.
These are the basic requirements for any king or nobleman who
died.
He wants the servants for him to do these steps.
Yes, but you wouldn't mind a nice roasted goose, right?
Yes, of course.
So here we can see a servant plucking off the feathers of a goose, preparing it. We can see other examples of people preparing other kinds of food. But that's meat sometimes, killing or slaughtering, as we will see upstairs when we will go upstairs. So this is basically Old Kingdom. And you will see that some of them have some text, hieroglyphic text. They indicate the function and sometimes even the name of the servant. As we said, there is a magical idea behind it. They believe that magic will actually make these are creations, not statues, not as I think or you think, not solid statues, but these are creatures this is life. So the power of magic will turn that creation into a real living person that can serve the noble in his next life. The owner of the tomb, a nobleman called Meketra, all these models come, many of these models come from his tomb. He's seated here on his chair, high chair, and he has his entourage with him, the people, the nobles and the serfs, all preparing the boat with him. So here we have the two boats here for the master and his son going into the fishing trip with them.
So how many servants or people does the king need in the afterlife after his
Well,
death?
as many as he can afford, the more the better. You see, this Meketra was quite a rich nobleman. Apparently, he lived in a big estate, and his estate had big grounds and workshops. As we will see, not only he have these models, but we also will see that he provides us with workshops to make, like this one, to make fancy stuff for him. A carpenter shop. You see here we have people preparing, of course, for the chairs, the beds. He wants to live a nice life and he doesn't want to live, to sit on the floor or sleep on the floor. So you will see here people are cutting the wood, tying it to a high pole so it won't crack. You will see people with their adze cutting pieces, extra bits and pieces of the wood, or making holes and mortises in the wood with their tools. We see even a whole box, you see the box painted white, with some tools put up on top of it, the adze and the drills and all the tools that carpenters used in ancient times, even saws and other things to cut adze, etc. We see people seated on a bench with their polished stones, so they will polish the wood, they will make holes in it, they will do things to holes and mortises to fix the wood together to create a box, a chair, a bed, whatever the nobleman needed. We will see that he had a big farm.
With cattle and the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
But he also was quite a smart man. He needed to know how much cattle does he have. Okay, so here there is an annual, or maybe done every 2 years, count of the animals that he has. So as you see, all the animals are led this way, and he's enjoying the seat. Everybody else sits on the floor, while Meketra, the noble, is seated on a seat, and his scribes, 4 of them, are writing down. Maybe one scribe makes a mistake, the other one will be more accurate. So 4 of them will write down how much cattle, and the other servants here. You see, not just food and drink now. Things are becoming more fancy.
You have a full life after
A full life in the afterlife, and a fancy life, a fancy one. These ideas will change a little bit. It's already beginning to change, but we will notice it by the end of the Old Kingdom and by the New Kingdom. There is what we call democracy for the death. That means that not servants will live in the next life as servants, but there would be now judgment of the dead. If you are good, you go to heaven and help yourself, serve yourself. If you are a servant, you can go to heaven and live a good life. If you are a king, you can go to heaven and also have the same life.
You've just been in there inside of the Egyptian Museum. What did you see in there?
Well, there's a lot to see. I haven't seen everything yet. But my friends and I who are traveling here, we've studied archaeology, and so our trip here is mostly to see a lot that goes with archaeology. So Everything that I've been seeing is just mainly seeing things that we've studied before, like the Narma Palette is a highlight, as well as many of the statues. And after lunch, we're going to come back and see the mummies, which will also be very exciting.
So are you planning to visit other places in Egypt as well?
Yes, unfortunately, we only have a week here before I fly back to Canada. So we're going down to Luxor to visit the temples of Karnak, to go to Abydos and some other areas too. Tomorrow we're going to see the pyramids and as well as Saqqara. So
Yeah, you're going to learn a lot about the pyramids and other monuments in Egypt because you're an archaeologist, actually, right?
yes, so it'll be very exciting to go.
It was a little overwhelming getting to see so many things that I've studied in class before. I've seen, especially the Narmer Palette, I've seen it so many times up on the screen, but I've never actually seen it myself. So it was amazing to see so many things that I've studied before and never had the chance to see it.
So you've been studying archaeology for how many years?
I did my undergraduate in archaeology, and now I'm doing Egyptology, so probably 5 years now I've been studying archaeology.
5 years. So how does it feel after studying, basically just studying things? What does it feel now after seeing the actual thing, the real thing now? The real deal.
It's amazing to actually see it myself. Just sometimes the scale, seeing it on the screen, you don't understand how big it is, and getting to see the sheer size of some of these monuments. They're as tall as the building themselves.
Just like one behind you?
Yeah, just to get to see that, and it's quite amazing.
It's awe-inspiring. It's just amazing to see these monuments that we've been reading about for so long and seeing in photographs.
So what was the most thing that actually grabbed your attention inside of the Egyptian Museum?
The Narmer Palette. It's just an incredible piece of art, and to be that close to it is unbelievable. And knowing how important it is to archaeology is just incredible.
So now you're on a break. Are you looking forward to the other parts of the visit here?
Yes. I'm really looking forward to Luxor, to Deir al-Medina, to seeing Hatshepsut's tomb. I'm really looking forward to that.
And by this, we come to the end of our episode. Thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed it.
Wait for us next time in a different tour.